Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today I've got three sets of top 8 deck lists for you. In fact, to be honest, that is a lie. I've got 2 different events with the full top 8 deck list, and then another event where we've only got 6 of the top 8. But we got a lot of lists to look at today, so I'm going to try and keep this introduction nice and brief. The 3 events that we're going to be looking at. Firstly, we have on the 2nd of January, GameKastle in the United States with 47 players. Then on the 4th of January in Sweden, the Disney Lorcana MKF Open #1. We love a #1. That usually means that we're going to get more, which we love to see. And shout out to Spessy, who was in Sweden and casting this event. I managed to catch some of this via his live stream. And this was 71 players, so we're going to take a look into these. And then the last event, also on the 4th of January, from the United States, GoldStar's Pretty Good Lorcana Tournament. You love to see it. This event was 117 players, so a nice big pool of data. Unfortunately, we only have 6 of the top 8 deck lists. When I get around to doing my Ultra Data video, which I'm hoping for to be released on Wednesday, because this is an event over 100 players, we will take into account the top 16 for that project. But today, I'm just going to look at the list we have available from the top 8. For this video, we're not going to go too in-depth into any sort of stock-looking list. This is more just a verbal overview. When we do the Ultra Data project, I'll go a lot deeper with counts, and then we'll talk about my opinions on the meta choices, and we'll go a lot deeper. But for this one, it's going to be more of a verbal overview of all of these deck lists. Also, as a last note, I've got my cat Hades in the room with me today. I bought him a new igloo, which he is absolutely loving, has barely left it. But for the last 15 minutes, I don't even know if the mic's picking it up, but he is cleaning himself so passionately and loudly that I'm convinced he's got a date tonight. Do you have a date tonight, Hades? I'm being ignored. But anyway, if you hear panting in the background, that's why. Anyway, we're going to get into it. A quick shout out to the channel sponsor, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive rates, then check out Cardmarket. But let's take a look at some deck lists. Quite often when I'm covering multiple events in one video, I will arrange them to combine all the ink combinations. For today, because it's 3 quite large events, I'm going to break them down event by event. So we'll start off with GameKastle, 47 players. And in first place, we have some Ruby Sapphire, courtesy of Legendary, or I imagine that's meant to be pronounced legendary, I would assume. 62 cards is certainly a choice. No one at Tell Pod card. I'm not saying it's wrong necessarily, but I know there are some people who will just instantly hard disagree with that, but I am seeing it more and more at the moment. But nonetheless, a pretty conventional Ruby Sapphire deck for these days. We're barely ever seeing the Fishbone Quills anymore. We just rely on our Sail the Azeroth Seas and our How Far I'll Go. Sometimes you'll see a Great Stone Dragon. Not in this particular list. We've got a very heavy item lineup: 4 Portical, 3 Ice Block, 2 Vitalisphere, and 1 Shield of Virtue, which of course, just being a 1-drop item is good, but you get to keep things safe, maybe get extra challenges with the Maui Shark, etc. Taking a look at the actions and songs, we've got 1 copy of Hideaway to get rid of locations or items. So in the mirror, banishing that Lucky Dime is good, or to be honest, even just banishing an Ice Block can be really, really annoying to, well, you don't banish it, it goes into their inkwell, but getting rid of an Ice Block, even that could be annoying. But if you're getting rid of the Dime, that's huge. And of course, there's not so much in Ruby Amethyst, although you might see some library in Amethyst Steel, but McDuck Manor is quite a popular location at the moment, so probably feels quite good to have this 1 copy of Hideaway. Of course, the 4 Sail, one of the best cards in the game for ramp plus draw. 3 Vision of the Future. I do think this is low. I think this is such a good card and often necessary in Ruby Sapphire. If you miss Flavisham, or even if you hit Flavisham and then it's removed before you can quest and get an additional 2 cards with him, you can start to run low on cards, so I think you just need these visions to help you find How Far I'll Go, the Be Prepared, the big Maui or Sisu or Tamatau or Dragon, whatever it is. But nonetheless, good to see them in here. Only 3 Brawl is probably fine because we're running 3 copies of the Sisu Daring Visitor, who pops a character of 1 strength or less when she's played. Of course, we're running Ice Block, so we can get even more characters into that range. And of course, the Floodborn Sisu banishing all characters on your opponent's side of the board with 2 strength or less. Again, something that works really well with the Ice Block. So I think we can justify the 3 Brawl here. 3 copies of How Far I'll Go, one of the best cards in the deck, letting you ramp, and again, again, help dig towards your more powerful cards. Flavisham for more card draw, big guys, we've spoke about it. 1 copy of Let It Go just to be another hard removal card, and of course it is an action, as are all of these cards that can be brought back by Maui, so I like the one off Let It Go. 3 copies of Pirate's Life as a Ruby Amethyst player I despise, but it is only because I'm probably going to lose to it. I think 3 Pirate's Life is super good against Ruby Amethyst. This list not playing the dime, which would also be good against Ruby Amethyst, but I don't think you need to. I think the Pirate's Life work a whole lot better. And then for our characters, we've got 4 Tipo for that ramp. We've mentioned the Sisu, 4 Tala and 4 Flavisham for draw. Just 1 copy of Maui for a response card to control the board. 4 copies, of course, of that Shark. 6 cost Inkable, 7/5 quest for 1. Evasive. Whenever this character challenges another character, you can return an action from your discard to your hand, and whenever you play an action, gain 1 lore. And we do indeed have actions galore. And then, of course, 4 Sisu, 3 Tamatoa, and 4 of that big bad monstrous dragon. Yeah, I think this is pretty stock Ruby Sapphire at this point in time, and got first place for Legendary at the GameKastle, so congratulations to them. Just as a note, for the top 4, Inkdex has this listed as first and then third, fourth, so I'm not sure who exactly is in second place. So we'll just go over both of the third place lists, starting off with Arzen, also on 62 cards, playing some Amethyst Steel. Amethyst Steel generally a pretty low to the ground deck. This is bordering on mid-range. It is still super low to the ground, but we're not seeing Brooms, for an example. We're instead seeing things like Bell, Lawrence, Crab, hoping to have a bit more control over the board, playing 2 copies of Rabbit as well. No Docks in here, which is the way a lot of the Amethyst Steel decks are going, just looking to play out as much as your hand and use Dock as your way to replenish. But not here. We've got 2 copies of the Library, which I for the first time ever, because if you've been watching my content a while, you know while I've always respected the Library, I've always said I would always play Queen's Castle, even in Amethyst Steel. I just think it's that much better. For the first time ever, in my opinion, I do think the Library is better than Queen's Castle as things stand right now. I just think the 8 willpower, it's only 1 over the Queen's Castle, but the difference that makes is huge. Obviously, it matters slightly less if they are a Ruby deck with Maui's, because it's still easier to answer, but any of the Amethyst decks, 7 is just so easy to hit. All you need is a Fox on board and a Crab in hand, or the other way around. But this 8 willpower sometimes can just be a bit too much, and of course, you can trigger this yourself. You can play the Library, move one of your characters to it, and then challenge something, banishes you, and you're going to get immediate value. So I like the inclusion. Running 2 copies of Zeus for board control, 4 strength, 4 friends on the other side, 3 copies of Fire the Cannons, which can just win you the game and pop off the, it breaking opposing shift lines, getting rid of the Flynn Rider, things like that. I mentioned we're running 2 Bell, which is going to be very helpful in the Genie Wars and has other niche use cases, and 4 copies of Elsa, who's also very good in the Genie Wars and good against a lot of decks like Amethyst Steel, the Mirror, EA Tempo, SteelSong. Quite often Elsa can be super important, and again, even against Ruby Amethyst for their own Genies. 4 copies of Pete, obviously shut out those actions. 3 Calhoun, 3 Smee, some basic 1-drops here, no Broom as I already mentioned, but other than that, looking pretty good. I would say this is slightly more mid-range than some of the Amethyst decks we've seen lately, but looks super good and led them to third place, so congratulations to them. Also in third place, or perhaps this was second place, not sure, but nonetheless, we've got 6 Sams. Oh, that takes me back to my Yu-Gi-Oh days. The 6 Samurai, man. With some EA Tempo. Just win the game. We've got a really nice 2-line special here. Super aggressive. We're running 4 copies of Amethyst Chromicon to let both players draw cards. So, of course, this does fuel your opponent, but we're just saying that we want to out-tempo them. We just want to be so much quicker. And we have the tools to do it. We've got some nice 1-drops here. The Maleficent's questing for 2. The Merfolk questing for 2. Running 4 copies of Bonsai. Going to be slightly worse into the Steel decks, but really good into the Control decks. We're also seeing 2 copies of the Enchantress. It's been a minute, Margot. 2 cost Inkable, 1/1 quest for 2, and True Form. While being challenged, this character gets +2 strength. So a 2-cost character that's questing for 2, and will, in a lot of instances, trade. So in some ways, she does the job that Bonsai does, just obviously she can't be the offense. But really, if you're playing Bonsai, you want to quest and make them challenge into you and trade, really. So the Enchantress can absolutely do that job and is inkable. So yeah, super interesting addition. We've got 4 copies of Go-Go, as we know, that can just win the game if we've got a big bulky body on the board with some damage. Ursa to rip those songs. Bounce package here. We're not seeing any snakes. We're just seeing 4 Fox for board control and 4 Goats. No rabbits, but we've got those 4 Genie wish fulfilled. 4 White Rose for the lore. And then we've got 4 Friends, 4 Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, and 2 The Bosses on a Roll. yeah, really nice, really aggressive EA tempo list. Probably the most aggro one I've seen in a hot minute, really. And like, we thought the meta was fast enough, but this thing is supersonic fast, by the way. Random non-Lorcana thing of the video. I saw Sonic 3 in the cinema. I never go to the cinema. I get to, like, I don't like not being able to pause it. I don't like if I need to go to the loo or want to get a snack or anything. I just don't really do well in cinemas. But for Sonic 3, you bet your bottom dollar your boy was going. Oh, it was so good. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, this looks super quick, super aggressive. I am skilled. So congratulations to 6 Sams. Going to top 4, another EA Tempo list, courtesy of RS Dennis. This one looking a little bit more traditional. We're seeing the one copy of Don Carnage, the LD special. Shout out to Lorcana Decklists, showcasing this at the European Championships in his top 16 performance. Really nice answer to the Genie. And yeah, like this, we know Genie can be such a threat just because of the evasive and 4 willpower can be hard to get around and questing for 2. Don Carnage does everything that Genie does, except he doesn't draw a card and he can be a bit more offensive. But I really like the inclusion. The only problem is really, like, since people are so ready to handle Genie, they're probably ready to handle Don Carnage as well. But at least if they're challenging you with their Genie, they're taking themselves out in return. Like, it'd have to be 2 Elsas challenging the Don Carnage, or an Elsa and a Crab, something like that. But yeah, nice addition. 4 Elsa, 2 Bell, a lot of the similar things here. We are seeing 2 copies of the Ursula, Deceiver of All. That can't be right. That's got to be a mistake. There are no songs here, unless it's bait. Unless we literally trying to just say to them, we're going to double sing a song. I'm going to double sing Friends or Sudden Chill. What? Yeah, I've just double checked ink decks, and this is what they've put. Again, it could be a mistake, but the other 4 Ursula are here. There is a chance that this Ursula is incorrect. Because if it's not incorrect, then this is here literally to be bait. And hey, Legend of top 4. Yeah, I'll try and get confirmation on this if I can, and add something to the description or a comment down below. But yeah, interesting. We've got 3 copies of Cloud Kicker, a nice bit of ball control, and helps bounce back the opposing Flynn Rider before that can potentially get value. White Rose, we've got 1 copy of Peter Pan Shadow Find, a nice rush evasive threat. 4 Crabs I am absolutely adoring at the moment in my own Ruby Amethyst, although we got a good amount of 1-drops here. I mean, like, 11 is a lot. For EA Tempo, I think it's probably low. Why are so many brooms disappearing, man? Like, I don't love it as much as Spessy, but I still think it's super good. 2 Snake, I think is fine. And everything else looking pretty traditional. 3 Bonsai, so good control matchups, maybe slightly worse Steel. But yeah, Ursa Deceiver of All. Could be a mistake, or could be bait. Who knows? But nonetheless, deck looks good. Congratulations to RS Dennis. Next up in top 8, we've got some SteelSong, a pretty traditional version. We are running 4 copies of Ariel, the 4 Whole New World, 4 Storm, 4 Strength, 3 Zeus, and 1 copy of Grab Your Swords, which I think is fine. We're running 2 copies of Cinderella Stout-Hearted to be a shift option onto the Borum Sensation, which of course we're running. 2 copies of Daisy for that aggro. We are running a 4-4 Robin Hood line. 2 Lilos. We've got 4 Ursula Vanessa, which I super like to be able to have more characters that can sing these songs. Like if you go Cinderella into Ursula into Ariel, that's a lot that your opponent has to worry about. 2 Calhoun, one of the best 2-drops in the game. We are also running 2 copies of that Prince Naveen for the emergency Whole New World or emergency any song we like. Plus we're sticking a Singer 6. And the most irregular choice, but not completely unseen, is 2 copies of Ariel Sonic Warrior. 6 cost inkable, 3/8 quest for 2. She shift 4, and whenever you play a song, you can pay 2 ink to deal 3 damage to a chosen character. That's a nice ability, and hey, if you're not facing a red deck, then this is super hard to remove. Super bulky as well. So yeah, pretty traditional SteelSong going on here. Congratulations to them. Next up in top 8, we've got Marazu. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but rejoice, Blue Steel fans, connoisseurs. We have some Sapphire Steel, 61 cards. We are playing 2 copies of Lucky Dime, 4 copies of Tamatar. We've got the 4 Big Tink. Oh, a lot of the old school stuff. You love to see it. We are running that new Jim Hawkins engine. 3 copies of the 2-drop, who's a 0/4 quest for 1, but whenever you put a card into your inkwell, he gains Challenger 2. And of course, we are ramp. We're running 4 copies of Fishbone Quill, 4 copies of Sail the the Azure at Sea. So we do be ramping, and of course just inking for turn also counts. So that can be really nice, can give you some nice efficient challenges. You take out Sisu's, things like that. And of course 2 copies of the Floodborn Jim Hawkins. He's a 5-cost uninkable 5/5 quest for 2. He's shift 3, so he can shift to Seeing a Whole New World, which is nice. And when you play him, you can deal 1 damage to chosen character or location. One free ping is pretty nice, and it's worth bearing in mind that if you have Jim Hawkins on the board and you ink, and then maybe you ink again from ramping, and then you shift, then the new Jim Hawkins still keeps the Challenger 2 for whatever it was until the end of the turn. So he can be an absolute powerhouse. We've got some aggro in here with the Mr. Smees. We've got some Pete's to shut down those actions. 3 Cogsworth to be a very reliable 5-cost singer, and of course really messes up your opponent's maths with that blanket resist 1. I'm running 2 copies of Aerial Treasure Collector. 6-cost uninkable 3/4 quest for 3. Ward, and when she, if you've got more items in play than your opponent, she gets an extra 2 lore. So assuming we do have more items, she's questing a 4/5. So she is absolutely a must answer and has that ward keyword. So you can't ice block her, you can't maleficent her. She is literally only going down to be prepared or something that involves a Keeder and then like an Under the Sea, something like that. Super hard to remove is the point. And if you've got Dime as well, then that's threatening immediately 10 lore, which is scary. We got 3 copies of Fire the Cannons, 2 copies of Let It Go, 3 Vision, and yeah, 4 Fortisphere, 4 Porpskull. You love to see it. Really nice looking deck. 61 cards. Blue Steel fans, rejoice. There is hope yet. Congratulations to you. And our final 2 deck lists in the top 8 of the GameKastle event are some more Amber Amethyst aggro. It's getting more and more real, my friends. A lot of people jumping onto the aggro game plan. Be very afraid. We're running 4 copies of Amethyst Chromacon to make sure we've always got resources. 2 bosses on a roll, 4 Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. We're also playing 2 Queen's Castle, which again, I've always loved this location so much. I don't like it in current meta, personally. And then for our characters, we've got Daisies, Lilo, Chernobogs, Diablos, Maleficents. We've got 3 copies of that Piglet, Pooh Pirate Captain, 2 Snake to protect things. We're also seeing another bit more, some more old school Pinocchio Star Attraction, who's a 2-cost uninkable 1/1 quest for 3. Scary. We've got 3 copies of Baloo Bodyguard. We're also running 4 copies of Donald Duck Bodyguard. Baloo obviously gaining you 2 lore when he's banished, and Donald Duck, when you play him, you give an extra lore pip to something. So yeah, like 1 drop into Pinocchio, into Donald Duck or Baloo. It's a pretty scary curve. I'm also running 2 copies of Tiana, who is a super strong card and really annoying, but I think there's just too much brawl for her to be or that, like, if she was inkable, it would be a bit more worth it. But we are playing Amethyst Chromacon. I don't know, maybe this is the deck for her where you'll get value the most. But yeah, whenever a character of yours is challenged, while this card is exerted, the challenging character gets -3 strength this turn, unless the player plays 3 strength. I still think it's a bit slow, to be honest. Like, easy to remove. And hey, sometimes, like, if they're on turn 4, 5, 6, 7, and they can probably afford the 3 ink. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Tiana in current meta. And then some standard Amethyst stuff and one copy of the Chernobog, who on play, well, you pay 1 less ink for each character in your discard to play him, and when you play him, he shuffles all characters back into your deck. And 9/9 quest for 3 is a big boy. So Amber Amethyst aggro is very real. Be afraid, and congratulations to AJS422. And our final list in the top 8 of GameKastle, another 62 cards. What is going on? 62 cards is the new meta. But we've got some more aggro. We're seeing that Chernobog. No non-character cards whatsoever because we are a Mufasa variant. So a bit more mid-range. So hoping to get some nice, valuable hits off the top from this Mufasa. But yeah, 1 Chernobog, 1 copy of this Hades, who, like, he's cool. I really like Hades, and he can win games out of nowhere and be super annoying. 6-cost uninkable 3/4 quest for 3. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your other characters is banished, gain 2 lore. So this can just be a checkmate to mean that, like, Be Prepared is no longer an out, it shuts just challenging is no longer an out, because this Hades is pretty scary if you haven't got the Medusa or something to instantly answer it, which isn't Be Prepared. Because again, if you're playing Be Prepared and they've got this and 2-3 other guys, you may just be winning them the game. So yeah, scary. We've got 4 Elsa, 2 Belle. Pretty traditional bounce stuff going on here. We are playing 4 copies of Rapunzel. In our 1-drops, we've obviously got Daisies that are nice for setting up Rapunzel traps, and 2 copies of Nala, who can also set up those Rapunzel traps. A lot of different 1-drops here. Lots going on. We should be able to be very aggressive. 1 copy of the Pinocchio Talkative Puppet on play. You can exert opposing you may exert chosen opposing character. It's early. And yeah, with Crabs and Foxes, we have a lot of ball control here. So yeah, some more mid-range aggro. Looks super scary. 62 cards. It is what it is. Congratulations to them. Alright, we're already at 25 minutes with 2 events to go, but some decks I shouldn't have to go over in as much detail again. So moving on to the event in Sweden. Again, shout out to Spessy. This whole event was streamed by him and is available on his channel. Go check it out. Support my boy. But yeah, 71 players. Nice big field. And once again, in first place, we have Ruby Sapphire Shark. In the event we just looked at, there was only 1 red-blue deck in that top 8. We've got 3 to look at for this event, so there you go. A lot of things that we've already talked about. We are seeing 1 copy of the Queen of Hearts. Really nice into these ever more popular aggro decks, and you can really catch Amethyst players off guard if they sit with a Chernabog or a Broom, assuming that you don't have the Queen of Hearts, because not many people play around the Queen of Hearts, because it's not popular in Ruby Sapphire lists, so often they'll take the risk and just sit with a Broom or a Chernabog, so if you can get rid of that, that's pretty nice. We are also playing 1 copy of Raya, who is gaining popularity in Ruby Sapphire decks. 4-cost Inkable, 3/3 quest for 2, and once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may ready another chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. We already saw in the last event and just lists throughout the format, Shield of Virtue is an occasional inclusion. It's a 1-cost item, so you can justify it in that sense. But yeah, keeping things safe. But the new cool thing to do with Shield is to re-ready the Shark so you can get multiple challenges off. And this is another way of doing it. We're not running the Shield in this deck. So yeah, you just put this down and then ink just for turn or with any of your ways of ramping. And you can, once again, re-ready your Shark, challenge, and get more actions back. Of course, it can work with anything else as well. And she quests for 2, which is really, really nice. Just 1 copy of A Pirate's Life in here. We're seeing the 2 Vitalisphere, but we are seeing 1 copy of Lucky Dime, which in some matchups this is going to be far too slow, but against Ruby Amethyst and in the mirror, then I think Lucky Dime should be super, super good. 2B prep, once again, the 1 copy of Let It Go. We've got a 2/4 Sisu line, only 3 dragons, but yeah, looking pretty stock, so congratulations to them. We'll do all 3 Ruby Sapphire in a row. Another one in the top 4, also utilising the Queen of Hearts, but 2 copies here. 3 copies of Pirate's Life and choosing not to play that Lucky Dime. We haven't got Rare here or the Shield of Virtue, so we don't have that clever tech option open to us, but this looks very, very consistent, and I really like that we're playing 2 copies of Emboldened Warrior Sisu. I still like Daring Visitor, although we're not playing Ice Blocks here, so she's not as good. But yeah, Emboldened Warrior, like, I think could be in more Ruby Sapphire lists. It's just such a good card. Again, if you're an Ice Block variant, then the Daring Visitor makes more sense. And even without Ice Block, I think you can still justify it. But yeah, it's more Inkables, and it helps you, again, against Flynn Riders, which can be really, really annoying. Thing is, whenever I see this Sisu in a Ruby Sapphire list, I just think, just play the Flynn. Just like, do it yourself. Have that line available to you. But yeah, deck looks super, super nice. 2 Maui Hero to All as well in here. And 4 How Far I'll Go, and 3 copies of the dreaded Be Prepared. Looks good. Congratulations to them. And our last Ruby Sapphire list in this top 8, we have Daniel. A lot more cards here. We are running that 1 copy of Lucky Dime and 1 copy of Pirate's Life, but we are playing that 1 copy of Great Stone Dragon and as another way to help us ramp. We are an Ice Block variant, and as such, we're running 4 Brawl, 2 Medusa, who we haven't seen in any of the Ruby Sapphire lists we've looked at so far, which I think it's fine, but I still think Medusa is super, super good, especially if you are running the Ice Blocks. But even without, like, this, just Medusa's just goated. I'm not breaking any records here. This ain't hot news. Medusa's still good. But yeah, 2 Daring Visitor and 3 Big Sisu working really nicely with these Ice Blocks. We're seeing the 1 Hideaway, 2 B Prep, 4 Mali Dragon. Again, all very similar, but just a few player preferences. So congratulations to Daniel. I told a lie. There were 4 Ruby Sapphire lists that made it to top 8 of this event, and we got some spice here. I do remember watching this person play one of their feature matches on Spessy's channel. So yeah, Ruby Sapphire, but with a lot of the fun toys. We're running 1 copy of McDuck Manor, which a lot of Ruby Sapphire players are picking up. Makes sense to me. But also 2 copies of the RLS Legacy. 4 cost uninkable, 3 to move there, 8 willpower, 2 lore gain per turn. And it's got 2 abilities. Characters here gain evasive, and if you have a character here, you pay 2 less ink to move other characters there. So as soon as you get 1 character in the RLS RLS Legacy, then it only costs 1 to move other characters there. So there's a lot of uses for this. Of course, just the fact that it's 8 willpower is a little bit more difficult to hit for the Amethyst decks. Like, again, we talked earlier about how 7 on Queen's Castle is just too easily reached, and for libraries and anything with the 8 willpower, it's just a little bit more awkward and annoying to hit. So good odds that you'll get at least the 2 lore. Making things evasive is obviously good and is a good way to oppose, to combat opposing Maui Sharks or opposing Diablos, opposing Genies. So I like it. But we are only running 14 uninkables. That being said, we have made some cuts to cards that I don't like seeing cuts of, really, like the Tamatoas and the Maleficents more than anything. Thing is, I really like the RLS Legacy, and again, anytime I get to talk about something slightly different in content is a good day. I'm not sure if I think it's right or not, but personally, I love it. I love the spice, and led them to top 8, and again, a respectable field, so clearly put in some work. We're seeing 1 copy of Maui's Fishhook, which we're running 3 copies of the Hero Tool and 3 copies of the Half Shark, so good odds that we don't even have to pay the ink for this, and then we exert, and we can either give a character evasive or +3 strength. I'm not sure if you need this and the RLS Legacy. I mean, a high count of Maui, like, justifies the fish hook a little bit more. But yeah, interesting. And again, it's still an item, which, again, you can always justify in this sort of deck. 4 Porp, 2 Vitalosphere, 1 Shield of Virtue, 3 B Prep, 3 copies of the Pirate's Life for me, 3 How Far I'll Go, also 1 copy of Dragonfire, respecting that some characters just gotta go. We're only running 2 copies of Maleficent Dragon, but that being said, sometimes the character comes down before we have access to the dragon, or before we have access to the Be Prepared even sometimes. So, and we're seeing some Ruby Amethyst list tech 1 Dragonfire as well, because sometimes, like, if they have Tremaine protection, like, you can just lose. Like, sometimes you just need to answer the Shark, the Tamatoa, whatever it is, right there and then. So I think Dragonfire coming into becoming more popular is a good shout. Everything else here looking pretty traditional. 2 copies of Raya, so really valuing this Maui Shark and trying to get as much value from this as we can. 2 Medusa are super like. We're not seeing any cards to shift the big Sisu onto, so we're just paying 8 for it. But again, we are ramp, so hopefully we can do that. 4 Tipo and 4 Saudi Azure at Sea and 3 How Far I'll Go being our ramp. Yeah, it's cool. Again, anytime I get to talk about something slightly different is a good day. So from that perspective, I super like the inclusion of RLS Legacy. I don't know if I'd go this way myself, but something to think about for sure. Let me know down in the comments. What do you think of RLS Legacy? And Atmosphere, if for whatever reason you are watching this video, then I'd love to know your thoughts on the RLS Legacy. How it performed for you? Would you keep it in? I'd love to hear that. But nonetheless, congratulations to you. Going back to second place, we have Oldie Far with some Amber Steel Mines. The Mines Calleth. 2 cost inkable, 2 to move there, 6 willpower, 1 passive lore, and the first time you to move a character there, you do 1 damage to an opposing character. But if it's a knight, then you do 2 damage instead. And in that vein, we have 4 copies of Doc. We're super aggressive. We want to empty our hand and replenish with Doc. And we're running 3 copies of Happy, which, of course, the evasive can help you to hit Genies, hit Diablos, and these Knights. Going into the mine, doing 2 damage is super, super good. 4 copies of the Ballroom Sensation Cinderella, purely to sing the 4 Storm and 4 Strength that we're running. 4 Daisy. We've got 3 Lilo, 3 Piglet, 4 copies of that Big Bad Calhoun. 1 copy of Mr. Arrow. Shout out to Dick Burns. I know he'll be loving seeing that. Smee, Lawrence P. 2 copies of Sven here as well, who readies a chosen character on play. They can't quest again for the rest of the turn, but maybe you use a character to sing, ready, and then quest, or you're just keeping them ready to keep them safe. Super good. 2 copies of Pluto and 2 copies of Kida. So yeah, this is very much inspired by the DeCandio special, his mine deck that he's been doing super, super well with, but again, with a few player preference choices, so congratulations to them. Next up in top 8, also on Steel Amber Mine, we have Philippe, I'm guessing. 2-line special, nice and tidy. This looks very, very close to the DeCandio list, except I believe DeCandio was running 4 copies of 4 copies of Thrida. I'm doing it again, man. 4 copies of Kida and only 2 Pluto. So just a slight adaptation there to account for Philippe's tastes. And again, this is something that DeCandio may end up going to go moving to himself. We shall see. But nonetheless, deck seems to be performing super, super well. You love to see it. Congratulations to them. And our last Amber Steel list, going back to top 4, a more classical variant. We are running the 4 Aerial, the 4 Whole New World, the 4 Zeus, 4 Storm, 4 Strength. 2 copies of that Stout-Hearted Cinderella. Once again, seeing that Sonic Warrior Aerial here becoming a lot more popular. We do have a Robin Hood Shift line in here, and the main difference being the 2 copies of Gaston and Baritone Bully, a card I like a lot, and a card that Zach Bivens performed with very well recently. We had an interview with him where we talked all about the Baritone Bully, and just it's really well positioned at the moment with that 3 strength and the Singer 5, so just have higher odds that you are sticking your Singer. But yeah, looks really, really nice. 2 Ursula Vanessa seems a little low to me. I'd probably go to a low counter Lilo, make this 3-3 maybe, but looks super, super good. Congratulations to them. And our final list for the top 8 of this event, our first Ruby Amethyst list that we're looking at, courtesy of Tarek. Hope I'm saying that right. This looks pretty stock. 3 B Prep, 4 Friends, 4 Brawl. We are running the 2 Big Sisu and, of course, 4 of the Emboldened Warrior to complement that Flynn Rider. 2 Splitter Ladies, 2 Maui. And we've got a nice Genie War engine here with the 4 Elsa and the 2 Belle. 3 Rabbit, 4 Genie Wish Fulfilled, and then Goat, Fox, Snake, and only 8 1-drops seems super low to me now. Ever since I've started playing 12 1-drops, I can't go back, man. And there's times where I've been like, I need to find some space for something. I can go down 11 1-drops, right? I was on 8 not long ago, but it just feels wrong all the time. It feels like so important to like not only have your 1-drop, but to have multiple 1-drops. So yeah, I don't think I can go back now. Like, maybe you'll catch me go to 11, but I'm all about that 12 1-drop life personally, although I have cut Elsa's, which is controversial to be sure. I just think she's a bit mid into Ruby Sapphire. It helps you in the mirror, but here's my kind of take about Elsa in the mirror. Like, yes, it helps the Genie War. Yes, Belle helps the Genie War. Do you know what else helps the Genie War? Brawl. What else are we brawling? In the mirror match, like, okay, maybe you want to bling the Flynn Rider? What is wrong with me? Bling him out, let's see it. Someone make me a blinged out Flynn Rider. Maybe you want to brawl the Flynn Rider. Okay, that could sometimes be reasonable, but 12 1-drop life, mate. I play 1-drop, double 1-drop. Sometimes you'll still have to do it, admittedly, but yeah, let's assume that we don't worry about the Flynn Rider. What else are we brawling in the mirror match? Maybe a rabbit, like if they expose it and you want to take the ability away for them to just bounce it back. But other than that, Genie is the prime target for Brawl in this matchup. And the way I think of it also is that, on average, in a mirror matchup, if you consider that you're going to remove one of their Genies due to a B-Prep later on in the game, you're going to remove one of them to a Medusa, then the other 2 get brawled. You're running 4 Brawls, you could ink 1, you could ink 2, you could ink 1 and play 1 on a Rabbit, they'll play 1 on a Flynn, something like that. Personally, in the mirror match, Brawls are serving me perfectly fine to take out the Genies and, of course, the Medusas and the B-Preps as well. So, don't get me wrong, I know Elsa is super good. It's good into SteelSong, it's good into EA Tempo, and into Amethyst Steel. Like, Elsa has a lot of niche use cases, and while I've been playing none, I could see myself going back up to maybe 2. But I don't know, man. I tested her for a long while, and like on paper it makes sense, but she's just feeling a bit underwhelming personally. Belle I was super high on at the beginning of just before European Championships. I said very publicly in that stream that I thought Belle was going to be one of the standout stars of the event. Turned out to be the case, and now a couple of weeks later I'm saying I've cut her completely, and I still think she's good. But if you're going to run 12 1-drops, you've got to find those spaces somewhere. But yeah, these are still super good inclusions in Ruby Amethyst. I just wanted to give my a brief overview of my thoughts on them in Ruby Amethyst at the moment. Other than that, deck looks really, really nice. I just I may make a bit of a song and dance and a joke about it, but I really do believe that like 10 1-drops is the minimum in this meta. But this served Tarek very, very well. Congratulations to them. And we're at about the 40-minute mark, but we've only got 6 lists left to look at, and a few of them will be brief because we've already gone over them. So moving on to the GoldStar's pretty good Lorcana tournament. 117 players, nice big field. We've only got 6 of the top 8, but when I do Ultra Data, I will include data from the top 16 of that event because it's over 100 players. But once again, in first place, we have Dennis with some Ruby Sapphire, and again, the theme of the video, 62 cards. Apparently I've missed a memo. Something's going around. But nonetheless, we've talked about a lot of these cards already. 2 Pirate's Life and the Lucky Dimes are hoping to have a good mirror and a good Ruby Amethyst matchup. 3 How Far Ago, 1 Let It Go. We've got a 2-3 Sea Sisu line, 1 hideaway. The most novel thing here really being the 2 copies of Super Goof with Rush. It's a 4-cost inkable, 2/4, quest for 1, Rush, and Super Peanut Powers. When he challenges a character, gain 2 lore, which can just catch people out of nowhere and can be the final bit of reach you need to win the game. So yeah, list looks really, really nice. Someone's going to tell me 62 cards, man. Like, what memo did I miss? Nonetheless, congratulations to Dennis. Next up in top 4, some more Ruby Sapphire, courtesy of Tyler, with also 62 cards, exactly the same list as we just looked at. So I imagine these are friends, teammates, testing buddies. But yeah, this list clearly works super well for both of these players. Again, 117 person field is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, love to see it. Congratulations to Tyler. Next up in top 4, some more Ruby Sapphire. SteelSong be sweating right now. SteelSong be sweating. We've got Louis, a slightly different build, but one similar to one that we've looked at in this video from the other events. We're running the 1 die, and we are seeing that 1 Great Stone Dragon, 2 Pirates Life, a 3/4 Sisu line, 2 Bpret, 3 Maui Shark, and everything else pretty stock here. So yeah, not a lot more to say here. Congratulations to Louis. And the last Ruby Sapphire list in this event, so 4 of the 6 lists that we have Ricky with an Ice Block variant here. So Ice Blocks being like 50% of Ruby Sapphire lists these days. I'm super interested to do my Ultra data and see what the actual division is and how many players are utilizing the Ice Block these days. But we see it here. Brawls, once again, no Medusas, 3 Maleficent Dragons, only 2 Tamatoa, 1 Dime, 2 Pirates Life, 3 How Far I'll Go, 2 B Prep. We are running the 2 Queen of Hearts to help out in the aggro matchup. Only 2 Maui Half Shark. I've always thought 2 Tamatoa seems low, but what do I know? We've all seen what happens when I pick up a Ruby Sapphire deck. So yeah, super well done to Ricky. Up at a second place then, we've got Charles with some Ruby Amethyst, but this is pretty low to the ground. We're not running any copies of Be Prepared whatsoever. We are seeing 4 Friends and 4 Brawl, makes all the sense. 2/2 of Ladies, but everything else is super aggressive. We've got those 12 1-drops, love to see it. We've got that Flynn here. We are running the Emboldened Warrior Sisu, just again, one of the best free drops in the game. A lot of traditional stuff here. 4 Crabs I absolutely adore, but we're running 4 copies of the White Rose, so just a little lower to the ground. We do have those control options courtesy of the Ladies, and of course just Foxes and Crabs give you pretty good board control. But yeah, a little bit of a more aggro version led Charles all the way to 2nd place in this huge event. So yeah, you love to see it. I miss my dreaded Be Prepared biasly, but love to see this version doing well. So congratulations to Charles. And our final list for this event and the video, in top 8 we've got Luke with some SteelFasa, 61 cards. So 4 Mufasas hoping to get some nice hits here. We are running 6 non-character cards, 3 Storm and 3 Strength for a Raging Fire. We are running 1 Cinderella Ballroom Sensation to complement that, and 2 copies of the Stout-Hearted Cinderella. I'd probably go to a higher count of Stout-Hearted here. Like, you're running Mufasa, just YOLO, right? But we've got 4 Tinks, we've got a 3/3 Robin Hood line, 3 copies of the Big Bad Gantu, 2 copies of Chen Po, who scares me. Does anyone else have nightmares about Chen Po? Is it just me? I need someone to validate me down below, because this Chen Po scares me, man. 4 Rapunzel, of course, for the card draw. 4 Pete, shut down those actions. Lawrence, we're running. That's easy for me to say. 2 copies of Benja. It's been a minute, my lad. How's it going? 3 cost inkable, 2/3 quest for 2. And on play, banish an item. Hey, like if you're on the play and you get your turn 3 before them, because they're obviously on their turn 3, quite traditionally, they are 4 ink because of their turn 2 ramp. So if you're on the play, just popping their Porpsicle means that they can't turn 3 Flavisham, can be pretty huge. And of course, if you are able to hit a dime off of this, it's not the end of the world. If they've got Tamatoas, they can recycle it. But at least that's like a turn they have to spend doing that. So you still can technically buy yourself a turn by just banishing the lucky dime. But he also just quests for 2. So yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Benja. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's good to see him. 3 copies of Doc to cheat out these 5 cost characters. So early Mufasa, early Chenpo, I'm scared, or early Gantu. I should probably be more scared of Gantu. Who you like? That's the next poll, right? Who are you more scared of, Chenpo or Gantu? Let me know down below. But yeah, Doc gonna help get these characters out, and of course he quests for 2. We are running 2 copies of the other Doc as well. Doc for days in this deck list. You love to see it. And then a lot of aggro stuff. The Calhouns, the Smees. We mentioned the 3/3 Robin Hood. I like it. And yeah, SteelFasa popping up a little bit recently. Like, let's not get carried away. It's not everywhere, but we've talked about SteelFasa quite a few times across this meta. So yeah, well done Mufasa. Congratulations to Luke. And that is it for our 3 sets of top 8 deck lists. Well, 8, 8, and 6. Again, the next video you see is likely to be my Ultra Data. It is currently Monday. Tuesday is when I'm going to be finishing off all my research. I've got all the deck lists downloaded, but I need to do my tally and count all the cards. That will be long. Hopefully I finish it all on Tuesday and I can get this video out on Wednesday at the latest. Like if it takes me a bit longer and I have to spend some of Thursday working on it as well, some of Wednesday working on it as well, then it will be released Thursday at the latest. But I will aim for Wednesday if I can get there. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. It's been a long old video. If you are brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support and we'll see you soon.